going to just see if it's showing up. I never know where to look sometimes for the live stuff to see if I can see people's responses or whatever. I don't really see it yet. I do not do Facebook Live nearly as often as I should to kind of know the situation there. But I don't know. I think I see it. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. I've got it opened up so then I can see if comments come and I can answer you, which is always fun. I do Facebook Lives a lot because I'm very used to that. Let's see. Got it. Okay, we don't need that. Then it says, welcome to the live chat. Okay, fantastic. And I'm just going to say hi right here so you know I'm around. There we go. Okay, great. Hi, Katie. Hi, everybody. I'm seeing you here too. So that's nice. Oh, good. This is working. So I like doing these lives. I think they're fun. And normally I do it on Facebook, but I've been wanting to do it on YouTube as well because it opens it up to a bit of a larger audience. And my rule of thumb on these things is if I'm just sitting around doing whatever I'm doing and I suddenly go, I feel like jumping on live and chatting with people, then I just do it because I feel like that means that me chatting with you guys is a good thing right then. So let's do. I have the wherewithal in my life to be able to do this. So why not? But anyway, I'm sitting here in Maui. Most of you know I live in Maui at the moment with my brother. You know the backstory to that. And if not, I'll tell it to you someday. But most of you already know. And it's kind of an overcast day, which is rare around here. The part of Maui that I live in the Kihei area, which is southern Maui. And it is usually very bright and full of sun and clouds and just delightfulness all the time. So when it's rainy or overcast like that, it's unusual. But the one thing I love most about overcast in Maui, and I say this as comparison to Oregon, my son and his family live in Oregon, and they have a lot of overcast weather there. What I love here is that there's always the feeling that the sun is right back behind it, which you sometimes get in other places. But it's kind of fun to be here. Katie says I shared it to the Facebook groups. Thank you, Katie. I was just trying to think, I wonder if I should jump online and tell my Facebook pals that I'm over here, but you did it for me. Thank you. That's so kind of you. I appreciate you, Katie. But the reason why I popped on, besides the sudden impulse that I try to listen to whenever it makes me go, hey, why don't you do that thing and be with those people and say hello and spread some joy or whatever, is that I was sitting here kind of procrastinating a little bit because I've been working on getting my latest limited edition ghoulies done, which is a fun thing. I'm not complaining. I like doing that. But sometimes it's repeating. So I'm kind of doing the same little bit of creativity over and over again. So I find ways to distract myself to keep it amusing for me. So, I'll take a nap or find something to eat or jump online and do a little live chat. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. But I thought, maybe that would be something fun that I can share with you guys and just sort of show you my little process. So let me see if I can add the link. Sometimes I can do that without destroying the universe, so we'll just see. But from time to time, I do limited editions of things. And those of you who collect my little ghoulies know that my limited edition ghoulies, I have such fun with those. And I've got the link right here. Let's pop it in over here. And that should give you the little link to that. That will take you right over. And what I've got going on right now is I've got two. I've got this little chocolate ghoulie. And for those of you who know me, know that ghoulie is just the name that I came up with randomly ages ago, which I kind of wish I had come up with a different name, but whatever. And it's just these little things that I have been doing ever since I was a teenager, when I first got involved with clay, actually even earlier than that, because I first got involved with ceramic clay when I was around 8. And I at that time made a little thing that I called blobs, which are essentially the same thing. I don't know why, child of the 70s, these things happen, but just these little things with faces, right? And I've continued to make them. It's usually out of glow-in-the-dark clay, and most of the time they're one of a kinds, but sometimes I make like a little limited edition series, right? So there's the link. Theoretically, that link will just pop you over there, but it's my website, christifriesen.com. You'll find me. But this one was one I did because a pal of mine said, you should do a chocolate one. So I said, okay, I'll do a chocolate one. Now, I realize when you look at this that it also looks like a different thing besides chocolate. But then I figured, the art is in the eye of the beholder. If it's a chocolate ghoulie to you, terrific. If it's another kind of substance, also fun. But here's like, this is what it looks like when I've made a pile of them. And these are all out of the oven, so this is the latest pile. They're getting ready to go into orders and wander off to their new owners. But these are like, everything's one of a kind, so they all look similar. But as you can tell, they're not identical. You know, they're each similar, but not the same. So what I do in stuff like this is I'll make a prototype, and then I'll start sort of assembly lining it. But I only do it if I enjoy it. So, you know, I make my assembly line fun, and then when I'm tired of making them, I stop. So this is the prototype of the other one that I've got for sale called Screech. A surprise bonus Halloween guy for no reason. But it kind of starts out like this. So I'll make these little balls, and then I'll give everybody a mouth, and then I'll start creating the hairdo, and then I'll put the eyes in, and I kind of do it in stages so that it's, here's all of the little balls look like. Now here's all the little balls with a mouth. Now here's all the whatever. That way they all can have a sort of consistency so that they do look like a limited edition, which is fun. So I enjoy doing that. But I thought, you know, you might be interested in seeing what that process looks like, because I don't generally do my art that way. I like one-of-a-kind stuff. I want to be amused, because to me, part of the fun of being an artist as a career choice is that I am having a good time at it too. So it's not just a way of making a living, but it's also a way of enjoying my living. So if I do things that are tedious or repetitive or problematic, in the sense that it's like I'm dreading having to get to it, then what's the point of that? I might as well have a real job, right? No. But I really want to make sure that when I'm, you know, doing my creativity, that I'm really having a fun time at it. So I know that the people I'm talking to out there, many of you are not doing creativity as your livelihood. You are just kind of enjoying some creativity on the side, as it were. And so therefore, you get to always just embrace the joy of it. And that is as it should be. But for those of you who do need or want your creativity to be a part of your income, or you're working on it to become a part of your career or whatever, please do follow that little idea that it should be fun, right? So fun is how it really should be, to make your life as much enjoyment as you can. I read something somewhere. I'm going to make a little post right here. Let me just hang on one second, and I'll tell you what I did. Okay, hang on. Okie dokie. I put that up on my profile for anybody who wants to find that. But I really appreciate, Katie, that you shared that as well. And I know a few of you are on there watching. So anyway, what I just saw somewhere along the way, and somebody was talking about, you know, follow the things that excite you, your passion. Do the things that make you excited and happy, and you're going to always be able to follow a course in your life that's just going to bring you more fulfillment. And this really came home to me when I was a couple different times in my life as an artist. And one of the first times is when I was 8, and my dad, hi Suzanne, how are you? I hope you're having a really fun time in New England, enjoying your visit with family, and hopefully you're having some nice weather. But good to see you, my friend. I remember that my dad said he was going to be bringing home clay and a kiln and all this stuff. Long story, but the short version of it was I couldn't wait to get home from school that day because the clay was going to be there. I was going to get to play. I was so excited. And I remember sitting down and getting the clay out and just having absolutely no idea what to make. And it was very frustrating because I wanted to make something and I couldn't think of what it was. And that's what started me on sketchbooks and writing down my ideas, so that every time I had an idea, I jotted it down so that when I then had the time to create, I could flip through the book and see what amused me at that moment. So that was the one of the ways of connecting the enjoyment and the excitement of your passion for creating into your actual creative act. Hi, Julie. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Then the other times, there's been little things like that throughout my life. But one of the things I remember when I got back into clay. So there's a long story, you know, I had went off to college, had children, got married, had children. And then I got to this part in my life where it's like, man, I am just working for a living and it's tedious and I don't like this. So I want to create again. I want to be an artist again. Suzanne says, sitting here and my hands are itching to play. No clay. So I baked some muffins. And you're such a good cook, too. So I know that that is a thing that comes natural for you, Suzanne, making some beautiful baked goods. But yeah, it's hard when you are away from your normal thing and, you know, you might just want to play a little bit with clay. I felt that way when I was visiting my kids in Oregon. I had the clay and everything there, but I'm not in my normal spot with my normal setup, you know, so it's like it takes effort to do what you normally would do easily when you're at your own studio. So you kind of have to find other creative outlets like muffins. But anyway, so I got back into wanting to be an artist again, and I was looking into getting a kiln and all that stuff, and then I found polymer clay, which has been, hi Joyce, how are you? Been a great avenue of exploration in my life since that point. But I remember making just what I felt like making for no reason, just to get into this material and having the joy of that. And you know, you end up looking at a lot of the things you make and go, ugh, yikes, but you're learning, you know, so it doesn't matter, they don't have to be great. But I remember at a certain point, somebody said, oh, wow, I really like this. You should sell it, you know, and I've sold my art my whole life. And I'm like, yeah, I should, you know. And so I remember letting them take it to some place and they sold a few of them. And then I thought, you know, I don't want to just become somebody who makes the sorts of things that people will buy. I want to make what I want to make and put the price on them I want them to be. And if people like them, then great, then I can keep on doing it. And if they don't, then I'll think of a different thing to do because I already have a job and I don't want my creativity just to become tedious, right? And so that's the point where I started making one-of-a-kind things. This is a very long story to get back to the point, which was amusing yourself in your creativity and not thinking of the end product, the selling or whatever, as the goal. The goal is to be amused, to follow your passion, to share and enjoy, right? And if at the same time you can benefit by that financially or emotionally, spiritually by sharing or whatever it is your goal is, or all of the above, then bonus, that's great. But you should try to do the things that amuse you. Hence, these crazy little glow-in-the-dark weirdos, right? So, I mean, like this amuses me. It amuses me to make this. Is it high art? I don't know. It's probably not going to go into a museum anytime soon. And there have been lots of other art that I've done that has been of a different caliber and more substantial, so to speak. But these amuse me. And for a long time, I kind of fought it. Kind of like, oh, they're just silly. And how do people think about me when all I'm making is these silly little things? And I turned a corner one day, a couple years back, and just went, screw it. I like them. People like them. I'm going to do them if I feel like it. And so I do. And I still do the other stuff too, but I have fun doing these. So even when it's making a giant pile of chocolate weirdos, pretend chocolate weirdos, then that's okay. I'll do them until I'm not interested in doing them anymore, and then I'll do something else, which is great fun. So I just thought I would share that with you because that's what I'm doing right now, is making some of these things to fulfill. And I put a link up earlier just over at my shop, ChristiFriesen.com, and you'll find those little guys are still up for sale. For now, I'm almost bored of them, which means I'll stop making them very shortly. So if you want one, grab one now, I can. But I think that's why I sometimes do the events like this upcoming Halloween thing. I think I told you guys before, but my son and I were talking because I was visiting here recently. And I'm going to give you another link. And I was just saying how my friends here online really enjoy Suzanne says a dentist delight. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, exactly. Like, look at those teeth. He needs braces so badly. How my pals enjoyed Halloween, and I said he said something like, you know, you should just have a random Halloween. Halloween can strike at no time. It's secret bonus Halloween, which tickled me. And I thought, yeah, let's have an April event that's just Halloween themed for no reason. So I've got that. I just put a link for it in case you want to sign up. So we're going to do two things. One is the little bat-o'-lantern. Nobody knows. And then this weirdo, this is the ectoplasm puss. It's just some weird thing. Why? I don't know, just because Halloween is a weird state of mind. And I think that's why some of you guys like it so much. It's an excuse to be a child, to be silly, to play, to do sort of spooky things, just to be dumb and fun and scary and delighted. So we're going to do it. If you want to join us, come. It's like $20. And it's, I think, April 28th, I think. Is that the Sunday that I'm thinking? Yeah, April 28th. It's one live chat, a couple of videos. Come join us if you want. You can go over there to sign up. But, I do these things from time to time because it amuses me. And that is what I'm really trying for my life to be, is obviously you have to think about the future. You can't just only do things that are amusing. But if you figure out in your heart what is interesting to you, what excites you, what's your passion, what's your joy, and follow that as much as you can. Obviously, can't always do that. But if you can add it in as much as you can to your life, then great. And for me, it's creativity. I like making things. So I was gone to my kids, and I was there for over a month because they were moving. I was helping them move. I did all that. My brain was involved in helping them get into and settled in the new place. So my normal creativity was on hold in a way. So as soon as I came home, I'm looking around at my little studio, and it's just there. I think you can probably see it here, but like I have so many of these little things, which are just little trays of ingredients. Of the things that I've collected. I love collecting the ingredients. So when I got home, it's like all I wanted to do was say, okay, everybody, I'm not doing any of my normal stuff for the next 2 weeks, and all I'm going to do is make. Which, of course, I could do that, but I had to get caught up on a few things that were like, okay, you've been gone for a month, you kind of have to deal with this thing now. It's like, darn those pesky credit card bills and such that need to be dealt with, whatever. But I'm kind of like going, all right, I need to kind of maybe plan that out for the next week or something here of just pulling out all my goodies and making stuff, right? And it doesn't have to be anything. It can just be whatever amuses you. One of the things that I do frequently, and this is just a little tip, I've mentioned this before to you guys, is I do a lot of stuff with epoxy clay as well as polymer clay. I like clay. I just got some air dry clay. I'm going to play with that a little bit too. I'll keep you posted on what happens. But when I'm doing epoxy clay, I often will make a little bit more than I need for whatever it is I'm doing, because I want to make sure I have everything that I need so my creative flow is not obstructed by lack of preparation. But that means I've got leftovers and I don't want to waste it. So I've got a whole bucket full of these tiny little bottles of different sizes. So I just put legs on them. And then I've got these weird, awkward vessels, which I love. And then one of these days, I'm just going to sit down and take these all out and now put clay on top and turn them into little walking art vessels that you could put one leaf in or whatever. Because it amuses me to think of a little vase that normally you'd sit down there and put your flowers in or whatever, that it just got its own legs and is walking off to find a different life for itself. I don't know why, but that amuses me. So I have a bucket full of all of these little leftover bits of epoxy clay. Now I have other things I do with the epoxy clay too, but I've got a whole bucket of those just waiting. In fact, I've put them up for sale in my diamond group, which they're the group that is first dibs on my artwork, as well as other weird things that I have going on. And from time to time, you guys have bought some, so we should just do a little free event on taking our little legged weirdos and creating a thing. In fact, I should write that down. Maybe I'll do that with my everything group. That might be fun for us to do as a little together. Vessel, question mark. Okay, we'll see if I can make that happen. I got groups. And the reason is that I like money to pay my bills and buy candy. So I will come up with different things that I can do that I can share with you guys that are of value that you guys will pay me money to, do stuff with me. And one of my groups, we have different ones. One's a creative group that's a monthly thing. One's the diamond group I mentioned, where you have access to my art first. And then the everything group, which gets everything, including just little special perks and gift boxes from time to time. So maybe we'll do something a little special with you guys. We're overdue for something special. But anyway, this is how my brain works. I really have tried to really lean into the whole randomness of creativity, but in a good way, not necessarily the chaos, although that's there too, but the randomness, the like being open for whatever might happen creatively. because when you don't push your own expectations on something, it can then go somewhere else, which is exciting. And we get to do that in a safe way in creativity, whereas in other parts of our life that might be less safe because gravity gets involved and there can be injuries or people's feelings get hurt or whatever other things can happen when you randomly act, impulsively. But in creativity, it's kind of a good thing that you just are sort of open to where things go. Like normally with, let's say again, getting back to these little weirdos, these little ghoulies, I love making these things. And the reason why I like them is I feel less that I'm making them as that I'm facilitating the clay in making itself, which is fun. And I don't that that's not happening necessarily really. It's figuratively, but also, because I feel like I'm in that flow. I'm just pulling things out and doing this and sticking stuff in. And the next thing you know, there's some little guy with a personality and it's got a backstory and all that stuff. And it's like, it's bringing itself to life. I'm just there providing the hands and the expertise to do it. And I find that so amusing. And I've made so many of them over the years, and so many of you guys collect them, which I appreciate, or you've got one or two or dozens, because they amuse you. And I just think that is amazing. And I tend to gravitate towards that kind of art myself. I don't know, show of hands, if anybody else likes that sort of thing, when you're always on the lookout for something a little odd or quirky or something where a lot of personality is in that piece. So some of my favorite artists are the ones where there's just unexpected things happening, unusual stuff, and I'm seeing little hearts and things float up. So I know you guys you're with me. You're relating to that and enjoying it with me, which I appreciate. So anyway, those are things I'm thinking about this morning, and just felt like, why not jump online and share them with you guys. So I'm glad that you came and joined me for just my little Christi ramble, like I'd like to do. And now I'm going to go back to creating all of these little guys, which are only this so far, but they're wandering towards this. So that's what my chore is for the day, to get that finished and then put them all in your little orders and send them on their way so they can live with you and have fun. And then you can decide, are they screaming? Are they hungry? Are they singing? I don't know. You'll know. Are they waiting for their dentist appointment? It's a mystery. But that's the fun part, is that I can think of the personality that they have. But once they leave me and they get to you, then you get to take over their story, which is fun. All right. Well, that's all that I can think of. Hi, Debbie. Debbie says, I love them. Thank you, Debbie. I love them too. It's just a weird thing. I think about that sometimes and think, these are so silly. But isn't that kind of a nifty thing in life, that we can be silly if we want? I was thinking about this the other day. Okay, I'm not done yet, apparently. One of my neighbors here, who's a teacher here on Maui, sent me a little article, and I have to look into this to see how widespread this is. I feel like this is a thing. It's not just something that happened here, that it's probably something that's happening elsewhere. But sometimes that you go and you see one of those little mini libraries that's just sort of like a little stand that somebody has, in their front yard or whatever, and it's sort of take a book, leave a book kind of a thing. And it's got like a little door, so it's out of the elements. But if you're just, a book, I feel like a new book today, I wonder which one, and you read it, and then you put it back there or somewhere else. Those are cool. I love those. I think that's really neat. And somebody she sent me the link that somebody has done that or is doing that here in Maui, but for art. So they're the same thing, a little small thing. And it is, Debbie says we have them here in Oregon. I have seen them when I visited, and I think they're just the best. Well, this one is for art. Take a piece of art, leave a piece of art. And I don't know, again, the details of somebody is curating that and paying attention and, making sure. Like this first one, the article was about, what a wonderful idea for art, right? This first one is like, it was connected with like a local art something, so that the initially could be stocked, so to speak, with art from that particular group. I don't know whether it was a high school or an extension of the college or just what. But anyway, so it was just like these little pieces of art. And I know there's other things like that, like the Art Omat. I don't know if you've seen that, but they've taken old vending machines and there's a standard size, and it's just art in there, and it's like $5. And you get your little piece of art, and they all have to be handmade. They all can't be reproduced or anything like that. But just like, what a wonderful thing, right? And I thought, that is neat. I'm going to look into that a little bit more, because I'd love to just make a few of these little weirdos and put them in there from time to time. But I've also thought about that, of just making some and just leaving them for somebody to find, just because we can, as artists, we can just add a little spark of weirdness to the world, and joyful, happy weirdness, and just make someone smile. And of course, wouldn't that be fun? And there are groups that do that. Again, in Oregon, up on the coast, and I want to say it's northern, but I don't think it is, because it's not too far out of Eugene. But Lincoln City comes to mind. But they have a thing, because there's a lot of glass artists there, where they do those floats. So they make a glass orb, and several times a year, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, the glass artist will hide them all along the beach over several miles. And if you find it, you keep it, and they're hidden all over the place. And there's however many there are, 100 of them or whatever. And then a website, if you found it, you can check in, because it'll have the number and which artist it is. And I just think, what a neat thing. It's brought a lot of tourists in, which is great. It was a benefit to the city and bringing the tourists in. But what a nifty thing that you can just go and find a piece of art. Isn't that nifty? And I know there's the art abandonment. There's a number of those things out there which are catered towards people who make, not quite sure what to do with it, either, because you don't sell, or that's not your thing, or whatever, that you can just share and give it back to others. What fun, right? So anyway, of course, I'm selling them, right? Because that's my livelihood, and that's what I need to do. But I love the idea that sometimes there's these, and I do that too, where I sometimes will do free things or whatever. We all do the give back. But I love that there are people that are more devoted to that, or there's ways that we can interact with each other like that. And if nothing more than just to share your quirkiness with the world, in terms of putting it out there so people can share it. I mean, that's what I do. And so far you guys are indulging my weirdness, and I'm very grateful for that. Debbie says Lincoln City, plus some of the other cities, and they do that for a good part of the summer. I love that. It's just great, right? Who doesn't like that? It's like, remember, well, I was going to say when you're a kid, but it's like that always, the idea that you might get a little unexpected something cool is great. But I remember my siblings and I, we used to do they still have, it was called Cappy Dick, and it was in like the Sunday comic section, and they would have these little contests that they would do, and then you could win things, and we were addicted to those things. We won so many of those, because we went above and beyond. We turned it into a noun. So now my brother and I refer to things like when you're putting a lot of extra effort into something to make it unusual and to stand out, we call it Cappy Dicking it, because that's what we always used to do. Is we always used to take that contest, and instead of just like, here's the answer, send it in, we'd put it on a board that we made drawings all around, and decorated it, whatever. But it was always an interesting challenge, because I don't even think half the time it was about the prize, because I don't really remember too many of the prizes, although I think there was a spy camera involved once, which didn't really work, but it was really a cool concept. It was small, and so that means that you could take secret pictures when no one, who knows, the things we kids used to get excited about back when we didn't realize what excitement was all about. But just that putting of extra effort into making something a little bit more unique was a fun thing, and it's something, I remember fondly from my childhood, and it's a part of me now, is what I do now, which I think is fun. Okay, so that's a lot of rambling from Christi, and for no reason, just because I could, and I felt like it, and so I did. But I'm glad that you guys could share it with me, and I enjoy your comments. All of you, thank you for being here, and I know as other people come and find this and read it and watch it, I will appreciate seeing your comments too. So I might just make a little reminder that I'm going to be doing more and more. I keep saying this, but I theoretically am going to be doing more and more YouTube stuff, and hopefully lives on a regular basis. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification, so that when you're in YouTube, you get a little notification if I'm doing something live, because I'm random. You never know. And the subscribe is always nice. It's nice to see people being connected to what I have to do, and it gives me a lot of energy and support, which is important for us artists, right? We love to feel the energy of people that are excited about what we bring to the world. It's very motivating, and it's fuel. So I appreciate that. And all your hearts and all your comments are great. So please, whenever you're watching this, whether live or in the future, please comment. I love it. I do my best to answer as many as I can. Don't let me tell you about literally pinhead camera. Oh my goodness. Those little cameras when you're kids, you know, you do the little pinhead and look through that, the little pinhole cameras or whatever. I know. We were so, my brother and I were talking about that. We were so limited in our youth as to what my generation of what we had as toys compared to nowadays what kids have. But it left giant sections of imagination to be used, which was a good thing. You know, so everything's got its pros and cons, right? But anyway, so guys, thank you for joining me. I see we have a few more people popping on. I'm sorry that you caught me right when I'm leaving. But I done said all the cool things I could say. And the only thing I will remind you is that for a very limited time anyway, I've got a couple different little ghoulies, a little chocolate guy, not real chocolate, obviously, don't eat it, or the little Screech, which is a glow-in-the-dark guy. If you want one, jump on my website. It's just christifriesen.com. You can find that. I've left a link. You can scroll up and find the link, but just search Christi Friesen, you'll find me. And then if you're catching this and those are gone already, I'll have more. So, you know, just keep an eye out, and I'll always have something I want to sell you because, hey, how in the world can I keep myself stocked in well-quality chocolates unless I sell you things? It's just one of those things. All right, guys, thanks for listening to me. I appreciate sharing some time with you, and I hope you have a really good and creative day. Now, let me see if I can figure out how to turn this off. Goodbye, everyone. Okay, this is always the challenging part. I forget how. Eventually, I'll figure it out. Oh, goodness, why? I don't do this enough. Help! How do I stop it? Oh, no. Well, guys, I'd like to say I'm going, but apparently I am still here. If anybody can remind me how I turn myself off, now would be a great time. Aha! Bye!